When people ask me what it is, what's so great about Braunschweig, I usually respond with those three things.
Our breweries make the best beer.
We have lots of smart people here, lots of generous people and a lot of inventive people. We invented advertising on football tricots. Of course it's for a beverage. But most importantly, the city is small enough that taking your bike is oftentimes the fastest way of travel. Which is awesome because the challenges to humanity and our planet Earth are not ending after beating COVID. The climate change is happening faster and faster, and we need to take every opportunity we can get to stop it. Taking your bike not only brings you fun, but it also is the most efficient way of transport. It completely runs off fat and not on fossil fuels. Yes, it can be exhausting, but after a little bit of training and having the right bike, it's just as easy as you can imagine. That said, there is one terrible twist in riding your bike. It's much more dangerous than taking your car. A look into the annual book of statistics from the city of Braunschweig reveals some interesting facts. While the total number of participants in road accidents almost halved in the last 20 years, the total amount of accidents only sank by 14%. That means less and less cars are bumping into each other, and instead they are hitting pedestrians, cyclists and other forms of mobility. Unfortunately, we can only assume the total number of pedestrians and cyclists because there is no data available, but what we can see is that the total number of cars in the last 20 years increased by 5%. These numbers only lead to one conclusion, and that is that taking your bike or not taking your car is much more dangerous. And as someone who is riding his bike all year long, I can definitely agree to that. Let's have a look at this road crossing for a bit. It's called the Ringgleis, a former industrial train track which has been rebuilt into a circuit which is 22 kilometers long and surrounds Braunschweig. While built for recreational purposes, it allows us also to get around the city very fast. But just like here, there are a lot of road crossings, so be prepared to wait a lot. A lot of those crossings are not only confusing, but also they feature blind bends, as you can see here. And this one is very bad in particular. Leaving the Prinzenpark, you have to use the shared road for a while to reach this crossing because there's no dedicated bike path leading up. At the end you have to do a really sketchy left turn only to end up on the bike path again, and a few moments later you end up at this crossing. This is a good moment to catch up some breath and relax for a while because you have to look around almost 300 degrees to see all incoming traffic. And as I'm filming this, there are so many cars crossing, I think you have to stand here for a little while. What's finally making this super dangerous is the fact that you have to stand on this little ramp and you have absolutely no momentum to cross the road fast. Imagine crossing this road with your family. I wouldn't do so. The bike initiative in Braunschweig is demanding more and better bikeways for our city, and I can only support that. Last week they organized a pop-up bike lane right through the city center, demonstrating how much more space pedestrians and cyclists really need. Compare this to a normal day of driving here and it quickly becomes clear that we need to dedicate more space to the people and not to cars. If COVID showed us one thing, then that we turned our cities into mindless shopping centers, empty of any sense of community. I enjoyed riding that pop-up bike lane very much, and I can only hope that our politicians and local forces will act accordingly. Unfortunately, at the moment, our local politicians are proposing for more parking space instead of less. That's neither people nor environmental friendly. And yes, partly those politicians belong to the party of CDU. The same CDU which is also part of our government, which has been told by our highest federal court last week that they are not doing enough to stop the climate crisis. Oh well, I wasn't meant to turn this into a political rant, but in the end those politicians are responsible for what's happening. And I can only appeal and hope that they are rethinking their positions. That would be very great for all of us. If you ever happen to be in Braunschweig, give the Ringgleis a try. It's very worth. It's a very scenic route throughout the city and you'll see a lot of interesting and also historical places. It can be very awesome to ride your bike here, and if you plan your route carefully, you can even cross the whole city without ever hitting any traffic lights. Isn't that awesome? And I also realized today I should wear my helm more often. I have one and I'm using it for long tours, but for the daily drives, which admittedly are the most of my drives, I'm not using it. So I'm promising I'm going to use my helmet more often. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, leaving a like or a comment, and see you next time on your bikes. Bye.